I have enjoyed going to a lot of colleges and universities over the more than 10 years now, and I really have enjoyed meeting students and sharing my own personal kind of story that has a lot to do with, I guess, self-acceptance and understanding the value of my heritage, as well as understanding dynamics in the grown-up world of diversity and inclusion and that kind of thing. I chose a vocation, a career that is not particularly inclusive. So I've learned a lot about racial rejection and stuff like that through my work. And so I like to kind of, I enjoy a career as a speaker, going to go all over the country. And it's really actually wonderful to go to a place like Grand Rapids and see a place that I might not be able to visit under other circumstances.
Are we becoming more diverse as a nation?
Well, certainly I think this is an interesting time to see how the issue of diversity plays. I imagine that the new leadership of the country is going to change the dynamic of diversity in the country tremendously. So I would imagine, I think, well, I don't know if we're becoming more diverse. It's literally, we have always been extremely diverse, and becoming more diverse, I'm not sure if that's the issue. What I think the issue is how we deal with that diversity and how we embrace it and accept it and celebrate it. And I think we'll always be a diverse country, and the degrees of how diverse we are isn't really the point. It's exactly how we regard it and what we make of it. It's an extremely positive thing to me, and so I think of it as an opportunity that I don't think people acknowledge very much.
The way you view it now, do you view it in the future tense as an optimism or as a pessimism?
As an optimism. I definitely see the future of the way this country has the potential to embrace diversity issues as a real positive opportunity. I've always felt that way. Maybe it's because that's how I look at life, but I generally think of it as a positive thing. Absolutely.
When I was thinking about your lecture, something came across. What crossed my mind is that right now there's always argument about how broadcast television isn't very diverse.
Yes.
Especially with Asian Americans. There's two on NBC, your character, as well as the one in Heroes, Sandra Oh on ABC, and that's about it. Do you think network TV, do you think they're evolving and they're becoming more diverse, or it's a much harder struggle on that
end? I've been trained to answer it by including the question, but that's really hard to do, so
well,
I'm just going to answer the question.
No, I guess more, do you see us as a country moving forward in diversity faster than what network television is moving?
Oh, I see.
Well, the issue of diversity in network television, specifically regarding Asian Americans, is really an area in which I think our progress has been very slow. And so I see the little progress that I've experienced or witnessed as an encouragement, but it certainly is somehow emblematic of a lack of inclusion in general when it comes to Asian Americans. Certainly even gay people have more exposure on television than Asian Americans do for some reason. And a certain level of gay activism and energy towards gay civil rights has forced that issue, not so much so with Asian Americans, and that's certainly an interesting challenge for me as a person who is in the field of being on television and wanting to make a living. It is a challenge. I do, however, think that it's a lot different than it was when I was a kid, and the opportunities are possibly not more plentiful, but definitely more dignified and definitely more substance. And so I think that's progress.
What are your feelings about the passage of Prop 8 in California?
I'm from California. I was born and raised in San Francisco. I was one of those many people who watched the passing of Prop 8, you know, with a great deal of anxiousness, and I believe very strongly that it's terribly wrong, and I'm very disappointed. I'm not necessarily surprised for a lot of reasons that probably would take too long to go into, but I find it. I was a supporter of Barack Obama. I voted for Barack Obama, and I felt in some ways, as a person who kind of had to kind of balance that tremendous victory of him being elected with this bitter chip that we cashed in order for him to win. That's how I see it, kind of metaphysically. I think that perhaps the time is coming for that issue to really be attacked and for it to be brought home in a way that it just hasn't been made clear how important.
Do you feel that in the fight of gay marriage and same rights for gay couples, do you believe like it's the way like it was in the 1960s for African Americans? As the fact that in their struggle was in the 1960s, today now we have an African American president, that now we're seeing these fights with same-sex couples, and in maybe a couple of decades, in 40 or 50 years, we'll see that achievement?
I've always thought of, certainly, the mother civil rights struggle of African American civil rights in this country. The history of that is the template and the foundation for all civil rights struggles that have followed it. And the next great frontier, perhaps, it can be argued, is the gay frontier, and that gay people are going to put themselves on the line in the way that African American people did in order to achieve change and equality.
But you see progress in the future. It's going to take a while, but you do see progress.
That was really good, too. Okay. Yes, I do. I mean, I think that it's really inevitable. That progress is inevitable, and that the gay people kind of putting themselves on the line in a similar way to the way that African American citizens put themselves on the line is going to make that equality evident. And really, I mean, for me, as an ethnic minority and as a gay person, it's really kind of shocking to me that people don't naturally see it. Even if they're not comfortable with it, they don't naturally see that, come on, equality is really important. Equality in this country and treating everyone equally should be a fundamental way of our life here as American citizens. But obviously it's not that, and so it's going to take a similar kind of civil rights struggle that we're embroiled in the middle of right now in order to make that change.